Morning where we are working on exactly what to say, not only changing our mindset, changing our language. We are in chapters 11 and 12 today. And man, it has been great stuff. In fact, I have been behind the scenes building kind of a template document for everybody that when we wrap this up, we will have available. So you can kind of have a couple of one-touch documents to keep remembering this and more importantly, implementing it. So that being said, hey, I want to cover through chapter 12. So if there's something previous, you're getting caught up on the reading that caught your attention, by all means, bring it in. And yet today we're going to really focus in on could it be possible and help me understand. So what have you guys pulled out of these two that you would love to make sure everybody else is paying attention to?
Well, I have a question. Could it be possible that we have another winner here?
Absolutely.
I think this was a great way to introduce new ideas without, and the way the book says, without saying that their idea is wrong. And it has no implication of that. And I love that about this particular question. It doesn't have any implication that the other question was wrong. It's just, could it be possible? It's sort of like another way of saying, just imagine.
Yeah. Well, and the fun part for me is how it dovetails with how certain are you?
Yeah.
Because, we're going to get, let's just say sellers. We love sellers. Sellers think the value's here. Buyers think the value's here. Appraisers think the value's somewhere else.
Yep.
And the fun part for me is they're all right.
Yep, they are.
So questioning how certain are you from chapter 10 on the value they think it is as a seller up here. And then starting to ask this, could it be possibles? Could it be possible that the value is here? And then once you've got its could it be possible piece, then you could explore some what ifs. If that's right, what does it mean to your sales timeline? If a property sits on the market month after month after month because we didn't get the list price right out of the gate, what can happen to the value? I love the fact that we are learning question-driven conversations one chunk at a time. And as I've been building this list, I would say 70% of this book is new questions for you to consider adding into your language. I also want to put Daryl, man, I love that you put this in here. How about speak up about it, brother, rather than just throw it in the chat?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, in chapter 11, that's just something that really stuck out to me, because the purpose of asking questions is not, in my mind, it's not to offend the other person. It's not to, necessarily make them think their idea is a bad idea, but it's just to be curious about why they think what they think and potentially get them to consider some other ideas. And I just think this is a really smooth way to do that, where you're not being abrasive, you're not making them feel bad about their opinion, but you're very smoothly getting them to see things in a different perspective that could potentially even be a benefit to them, and probably is going to be a benefit to them, which is why we're bringing it up. So yeah, I just thought that was well crafted, and that thought process was just very concise and well crafted in that one sentence.
Well, superb observations on that. One of the fun things that came up as I've been going through this too, and you brought it up perfectly, of being non-confrontational and not elevating the negative energy. How many of these questions that we've learned so far start with why? Yeah, not a one. By the way, I've gone through all of them and there's not a single why question in here. Think about that. And we know that is a disempowering question. Here's a way to get to the same concept of why are you thinking that way without asking that directly, and instead putting this 1-2 punch of how certain are you and could it be possible? It's awesome. What else you guys have?
So when you ask the question, are you certain about that? What we forget sometimes is we know how real estate works upside down, backwards, and forward. They don't, but in their mind, they think they know why. And when you ask that question, you're going to get the one thing that bothers them that we don't necessarily know. And it gives us an opportunity to talk about it rather than be offended and start solving a problem, which we don't even know that they have yet. And when you ask that question, it's like, how certain are you? It promotes an opportunity to have a discussion, and hopefully they're going to come to the point where, you know what, I really don't know as much as you do, so please expand or expand upon what you think we should do. So I love that question. How certain are you that your house is going to sell in a week at that price? And then shut up and let them do the heavy lifting.
Amen. And I want to put one thing in here, Mark, because you kind of did two tweaks. I want to make sure everybody gets, because you started with, are you certain? Closed-ended,
Right.
yes or no, we don't want to go there. And then you loop back to, how certain are you? Which is open-ended and gets them to talk, which is the goal. Again, every question we're learning here is an open-ended question.
Russ
Even
and
if you
Perry.
want a close-ended answer, we're still going to go open-ended to allow them to get there. I heard a voice speak up.
Yeah, Russ, I was going to say, and pairing that, like, imagine yourself 2 months down the line. How certain are you that this is going to be the right path for us to take? So making them imagine it and think about your open-ended question at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. It's a great. Notice how these are starting to all interlink, and you guys are starting to use all the parts. Makes me smile. What else, guys?
So, Russ, you said you're putting together a cheat sheet, which I think is great, and Don suggested the same thing that I do. I would imagine when you're done with your list of the questions, an hour and 15-minute listing presentation would probably get brought down to about 30 minutes just by asking great questions and getting to the point instead of talking about the crap that we think
I have a
and not them.
spirit.
Yeah. Go, Elizabeth, and I'm going to come back to Mark's. What do you got?
I use this for one of my lady who already contract painting. The lady is retirement, only have $350,000 cash. And then asked her daughter, I would like to buy a house in Austin. Her daughter said, no way, Mom, too low. Austin price too high. But I know I had to using confidence and certainty that I was able to find her a good deal. So that's exactly what I did. I based on what is possible. So I talked to her. Everything's possible. Don't living on, oh, you only have $350,000. You're not going to ever buy a house. So I did. I searched in it. We find a good house on 183A and we cash closing. So it's like, wow, this is exactly what I did of certainty.
So here's a key for you, though, and this is for everybody, Elizabeth, and I keep dropping it in, and I'll probably say this for the next decade.
Yeah.
I never want to hear what you said to them. I want to hear what questions you asked of them. That's where the growth occurs. Okay. So, and that's what this is teaching us, is to ask these questions around certainty in this example. So, Mark, thank you, by the way, for, again, putting your insights in here. I love it when you speak up. You came with great content, brother. And by all means, you, Elizabeth, everybody speaking up always makes me smile. And total transparency sure makes my job a lot easier, doesn't it? What else you guys have? Dorothy.
So once again, I got the wrong chapter. Just at 9 o'clock, somebody said, oh, it's 11 and 12. So I reviewed 11 and 12 for today, but I just
So just 11. Okay. Because I think today we did, well, wait a minute. No, we did 11 and 12 today. Yeah. So
okay.
You're right on what you got. What do you got, Dorothy?
Okay. But actually the how certain are you fits in. What I keep getting as an overall theme is this is theme and variation on playing hard to get. A boy chases a girl until she catches him because she acts like she doesn't care. It's not a mean, I don't care. It's a, oh, you're still there. And then the boy has to explain to her and prove to her and chase her. And she wanted him all along, but she's not going to tell. And this is like theme. Maybe it's because I'm a girl that I did that and became unconscious. But yesterday I spent 12 hours with a prospect because a guy was showing us all of his renovations, which was fabulous. And I just let him talk. And before I had had all this training, I might have tried to help it along more, but I didn't. I let him sing. And now he's talking himself into the next step.
Well, what a actual great analogy. I got two things from this for you, Dorothy. One, you're absolutely right that the person who talks the most dominates the conversation. The person who asks the most questions controls the conversation, gets it where they want it to go. And so in our world, we very well have consumers, quote, playing hard to get because they think they know better or they have judgment over real estate agents. They have a story. And so you get to engage them and ask questions and start flipping that script to where you're now taking back control by asking questions. So just keep that in mind. Number two, and this is probably even more important, Dorothy. Exactly What to Say is an original book, and this one was a rewrite for real estate agents. Maybe, just maybe, you should go back to the original one and rewrite one with them. Exactly What to Say for dating situations. How much you work on that?
I'll never tell.
All right. What else you guys have? Hey, Justin,
I'm going to talk about
hands up. What you got, brother?
Somebody was speaking up. So
it might have been Matthew. I saw Matthew's mic come hot and go off as well.
All right. Well, I would say on page 62, so the opening to chapter 11, building our lessons around certainty. The flip side of that is possibility. In the same way, uncertainty can create opportunity. Exploring what's possible achieves a very similar outcome. So what popped in mind for me when they said flip side, I was thinking of it like a coin. So you have like on the opportunity coin, we have certainty and possibility. And if we have the opposite of either of those, uncertainty or a lack of opportunity, we've got the wrong coin. I also really liked on the bottom of 63, the last sentence. It is challenging, rejection free, without aggression, and laced in curiosity. That was just like great use of language this author has. So I'm enjoying this.
Excellent. And one of the keys with that, I just want to let you guys know that if someone is stuck in a thinking process, a path that isn't going to get them to the goal, i.e., a seller who thinks a listing price over value is going to get the job done, you need to actually ask questions that create uncertainty, that create doubt, which is what some of these are doing. When you're asking, how certain are you, and asking possibility, you're starting to break down their thought process and get them more open-minded to other options. And then, of course, when you're asking questions to get them really where you want to go, those questions need to be around certainty. So 2 things on that I want to put in there. And then Matthew, I'm coming to you. And then Mark, I'm coming to you next. A big part of this, which isn't in the book, is how you deliver the questions. So I'm going to take you guys back, for some of you that have been with me a while, on upswings and downswings. We have been taught our entire life, from when we first started communicating in grade school, that when you see the question mark, you upswing. Okay. An upswing creates uncertainty and doubt. So I do a lot of this on what are called tie downs. Tie downs are 1 to 4 words that go at the end of a statement that turns it into a question and also gets you to lead them where you want them to go. So a great example. You guys are all enjoying our time in this room, aren't you? I delivered the question, aren't you, with a downswing. And almost every one of you are in agreement with me on that because of that. So when you want to create certainty, you've got to make sure that you're downswinging your questions anyway. By the way, most of the time you're going to use that on a closed-ended question, a yes or no. So when you are curious, when you really are thinking, how certain are you that $1 million list price is really going to get this done? Versus how certain are you that $1 million list price will get this done? They have radically different energy behind them. So if you want to break them down, you got to upswing. If you want to create that certainty, that collaboration, that connection, you got to work on downswings. Just keep that in mind. If you're using the words and they're not working the way you want them, it may be how you're delivering it. Number 2 on that, the best way to solve this question we're having right now about how you're delivering is to practice and role play. So showing up today at the 2 o'clock hour in this room and breaking out into triads like we've talked about and getting together and practicing and role playing with one person being the agent, one person being the consumer, and the third person being an observer, and keeping it to 6 to 8 minutes per person, and then giving back the feedback sandwich, the observer especially, and the consumer. Here's what you did good. Here's the meat in the middle, all the places we get to get better. Here's what you did awesome. Guys, you've got to be doing this on a regular basis, like daily, if you really want to get great at the things we're learning. Now, let's jump back into the content. I saw, as I said, Matthew, get that mic hot.
All right. Thanks, Russ. A couple things. You actually just said another thing I wanted to mention. I took your bold class a few years ago, which I found amazing. You were always talking about questions and having a downward tone, so you didn't have the upward tone, which was, it sounds less confidence when you speak that way. And if you sound less certain, they're going to have less certainty in you. So just another way to have that authority. And that's a logical fallacy on its own, where if they believe you're the authority, they're going to listen to you, right? So that's great that you just mentioned that. I actually want to mention a couple things. I know we're on a few chapters here. I've been using these lately in real life as combos. I'll use them in combinations. I have this past weekend, I held an open house. I had one buyer come in, and I was asking the right questions, like, help me understand what you're looking for in a house, etc. But the follow-up I had with him, I used several combinations. I even looked ahead. Like, one we haven't got to yet is as promised. Like I mentioned, I would follow up with him and be like, hey, I'll send you a listing. I'll send you a video tour. I'll send you the tax report. And so I led as promised. Here are those things, right? And what else? I used this may not be for you, but when you came in here, it seemed like it could be a possible good fit for you, right? Because he was around the house for like an hour, touring it, checking it out again, taking photos. And, he's been just going to open houses the past couple months, not working with a real estate agent. And I just got my way in there, use these combos, texting him back, an email. He sent me an email reply back after I sent him everything, and just basically said that he was extremely interested and wanted to talk more about this house with me. And I'm like, that's incredible, because I, out of my whole real estate career, it's very rare that I get a good buyer or a good result from an open house. It's more about people pleasing. It's more about helping my client, showing them I'm putting the effort in there and doing the due diligence for them. But rarely do I get that kind of result. And I can directly say it's from the language patterns of this book we're reading. So they work amazing as combos. And I just really appreciate you guys. This whole thing's been amazing. And I look forward to doing more of this. It's awesome. It's incredible stuff.
Thank you, Matt. Man, yeah, all kinds of good stuff from you, and really appreciate you tying it back to our history, our time together, and more importantly, that you're putting into practice. And so I want to just share for everybody open houses. People don't spend their time going to open houses if they're not considering doing something with real estate. That's a rarity, that's an edge of the bell curve. Almost everybody walking through that door, no matter what they say, one is looking to do something with real estate, and two doesn't really have an agent they're working with. So, how many of you, either on a form or in live person, are asking, do you have a real estate agent you're working with? And what do they always say?
Yes.
So let's go back to chapter, I think it was 2. Who do you know we can tweak? Who is helping you with your real estate activities right now? And 9 times out of 10, when you ask that question, they won't have an answer. Now you get to explore where there might be an opportunity to do business with them. Open houses are a great place to lead gen when they're done right. When you do a mega open house party, right, Doug? Doug and Jeanette and I walked them through their first one ever. How many people did you have at that thing?
50. We had 50 people at an open house the week. I think the week before that, we had an open house. We had 4. So it really worked. And I had one of the clients come through. I asked them, I said, do you have a real estate agent? And they said, yes, we do. I said, well, who is your real estate agent? They said, Claudia Ochoa. I said, Claudia Ochoa is your real estate agent? You have an awesome agent. You need to talk to her about this house.
Absolutely.
So we had a great time with it.
Yeah. So, guys, let's keep following the models. All right. Now, Mark, you were next up, brother. I didn't forget about you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Russ. I was just thinking of a little bit about piggybacking on what Dorothy was saying about the dating game on some level, in the sense that you don't want to get too attached to the outcome. You know, as fiduciaries and taking care of clients at a high level, you know, it's to build trust. This book is perfect for that because the language is so engaging and so thought-provoking that it's not necessarily about making the sale per se, but it's got getting to know the people on a level that they you know, trust you to you know, do business with you. So that's why. But again, sales is typically about the outcome. This is more about the process, in my opinion.
Well, that's a great overarching position that we talk about time and time again. When you focus on the outcome, when it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. When it doesn't happen, you go, oh, this doesn't work. When it doesn't happen, you get all this judgment around it. And for everybody focused on the outcome, 9 times out of 10, they don't make it in this industry.
Right.
As Mark's talking about focusing on the process, the journey, now you get to focus on the process of improving your language.
Right.
And as Matthew said, wow, the results magically happen. When you focus on the process, the results will show up. When you focus on the results, your process usually screws up.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Well said.
That belongs on a t-shirt, doesn't it, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. So, guys, I love that Mark is hammering this point home, that we just keep focusing on the process. We just keep getting better. We just keep sharpening our axe. And in the moments we need it, now it's going to work really well. We got 4 more minutes. What else you guys have? Don Hobbs, I saw that mic go hot, brother.
Hey, well, a couple things. One is you have a couple people saying, and when would now be a good time? I'm making this up. When would now be a good time for you to send me the open house strategy? So there's a couple people that want to hear about how Doug and Jeanette got 50 people.
We very well may have to do the entire open house process, which, by the way, leads into part of it, into the listing conversation process. So we may have to teach that one coming here sometime later.
Do a session on just that. I love that. So let me share what I was going to share, and it goes back to what my shirtless friend Matthew was talking about. So Matthew, I see you working out, buddy. So I love that you're working with this, and the combos are amazing, right? There's so much you can do because again, you're learning language patterns. Russ has been teaching language patterns. I've been teaching language patterns. These are some new sets of language patterns that work in conjunction. But you know, if you get to the end of the book, you'll discover that there's really, I think there's 27 or 28 language patterns that he's giving us, or that they're giving us. If you type those out on 2 columns on a sheet of paper, you type those out over here and over here, you can put that sheet up anywhere. And when you're having conversations on the phone, it is a script master for you. It is just simply, before you open your mouth, you're thinking about, as promised, I'm sending you the whatever, you know, if I do this, will you do that? You know, like you're just going to start living these patterns. So I really want to get you guys to just type them out. Just get a simple thing that, like, what are the ones that really resonate with you? What makes sense for you? What do you feel like these fit my personality? And put those on a sheet of paper, and away we go. But I've just really noticed, having had Joyce, my assistant, had done some work for me on that, and I was like, well, this is like a no-brainer. This is a one-pager instead of having to go through the book and going back to it, right? Anyway, Russ, love the open house idea. Love to do that, and love this book.
The one thing we didn't hit today, guys, so we're going to hang it up for tomorrow, is help me understand. Because that was the next chapter, chapter 12 that we got into. So I want to let you guys know we're going to do 13 and 14 tomorrow. And tomorrow is the last day of this week that we're going to be doing this. Obviously, 4th of July, we're going to be off doing other things. And let's take Friday as well to either work on implementing this, or work on our business, or spend time with family and take some vacation, whatever that looks like for you guys. So 9:29, Don Hobbs, it is Tuesday. What do we have on the radar today?
Well,
I
for
think
those
we're
that are
rolling right
part
into
of
accelerators, aren't we?
Yeah, for those that are part of the accelerator group, we're doing accelerators at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, I think it is. I don't know the rest of the schedule for today. I think that's
Meeting.com/epic is your accelerators group at 10 o'clock Central. And then 2 o'clock Central, those that are going to be working on implementing, those that are going to be working on conversations right back in this room. I will be finishing the move of my son and getting that done. And then tomorrow afternoon, I will be on an airplane, it looks like, headed back to the home front in Puerto Rico. And Don Hobbs, one other thing I want to get in here. Let me close my recording off. What is the date of the build in Dallas?
Build, the 2-day program, is the 25th and 26th of this month, July.
It's a 2-dayer.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
And I hear we've got discount tickets of like $99 for that thing.
Yep, we've got $99 tickets on it, and if you need the code for it, guys, I don't have it handy, but Maria may have it. I'll get it for you by tomorrow.
What is the retail on that?
I think it's $129 or something like that. And there are some pricier tickets if you want to get closer seats. There you go. Thanks, Doug.
All right, let's get some folks in there, guys. I'm actually debating putting that on my radar. So, Don, I put it on my Palm Pilot, right there on my Palm Pilot. I got it written down. And Marcy and I'll talk about it later today.
That's perfect. We'd love to see you there. I know I'll be speaking. Allison's speaking. Nicole's up on stage. Anyway, you know a lot of the people that are going to be there, guys. There's some really big time players that are going to be there. We've got some executives. There's going to be conversation around the whole NAR settlement post time. You know, what are we going to scripting and all that stuff. There's a lot going to be going on for those 2 days. And for those that are involved in luxury, we're going to do a luxury certification on the second day for the second half of the program. So if you're interested in luxury, there's a good place to go. It's in Dallas. Yes, Justin. And I don't have the location handy, but it's in Dallas North. So
It's at
we'll
the
get-
Renaissance on Legacy.
thanks, Glenna. See, smarter people than me all the time. There you go. Perfect. All right. Thanks, Maria. I appreciate that. And yeah, you can use this. Doesn't really matter, but for those that, yeah. Anyway, that's it. Let's go. Have a great day, guys.